All right. Today we are going to talk about being too comfortable. And here with me today is Coach John Kitchens. Hey, Coach.
What's up? How are you?
Good. But so many times this week I've heard, well, that's the way we've always done it. And I literally want to crawl out of my skin. What the hell? Help me.
Isn't that like fingernails on the chalkboard? Isn't that really kind of what
Yes.
that sounds like?
What
Yeah.
it can you like it, and we've all heard it, right? And we all know where you got to get out of our comfort zone and like all this stuff, blah blah blah. But like, can you give us some context around it and what it really
Yeah.
means?
Yeah. I've uh, adopted the belief of either you're growing or you're dying. And, getting
Like a
to a
shark.
place of, yeah, it's like, a place that I've always, you get to a place and you feel comfortable. And so what is comfortable? What is complacency? What is, sticking to the norm, not getting out of your comfort zone? And
I
if
feel
you
like it's like keeping all your money in cash at the bank, earning a 0.5% when you
yeah,
could be investing your money and earning way more.
way more. And so if you believe that you either grow or die and all of those factors, then what is that? Because that's not growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, everybody has a different, risk tolerance,
Mm-hmm.
but just sitting there, just letting, like you said, just letting money sit there is not doing anything to grow. And that's the same thing with our thinking, right? Just relying on old thoughts, old behaviors, old habits are going to give us those same results. And we get to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
and the worst thing that any of us as humans could ever do is feel we've arrived, because that you're just a matter of time. You're already getting surpassed. And so it's really important. And Jen, what, to me, what sparks all of that is that not putting themselves in an environment that challenges them to be better every day. So this goes back to, that's an old way of thinking. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's a false belief that they've latched onto with some type of thinking that they've been conditioned with throughout their life and in their current circumstance in their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it always goes back to, are you getting into rooms? Are you getting around people? And you and I were talking about this before we went live. Are you getting around people? And what I always challenge people is that you're looking for three things when
Okay.
you get around people. One, are you getting in rooms and around people that create a new level of awareness for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things where we become complacent is that we don't have an awareness that we need to make a change.
Right.
And so without awareness, we don't know that there's a problem.
Right.
So that's why we have to get into rooms that reflect on us and help us reveal
Right.
and what we don't
I
see,
think it
because we
is
all have blind
important to
spots.
know who you're around. And I know like this is very, very evident to me because I know like before I came to EXP, um, I thought that I was a big thinker and I thought like I was around the right people and I didn't even know what I didn't know. And then when I came over and I started being around people like you and other people that are like doing way more than I am, that are accomplishing their goals faster than I was like, oh shit. I was like, I was wrong. You know what I mean? And it does,
Yeah,
it changes like your perspective.
it does.
It's
So
crazy.
so that's the awareness. Well, the second thing is that room, are those people, are they inspiring you to
Mm-hmm.
take action?
Right.
Because now I have this new level of awareness. So I now have a
Now what?
choice. I
Yeah.
can choose to do something or I can choose not to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I have this level of awareness. Now, is this same room or is this same environment inspiring me to take action
Right.
in a new way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing you're looking for is this room going to give me some type of accountability? is the people
Because that's
around
the
me.
big thing, right? Like we all go to these
Yes.
events and we're like, oh, yay, I could do it. And then a week later, you're like, wah, wah, back to the old ways.
Maybe you were inspired, right?
Mhm.
You have a new level of awareness. You were inspired,
Mhm.
but now where is the accountability?
Yeah, I like to call them.
What are you going to do?
bumpers.
What are you going to do?
Right.
When are you going to do it by? And
Mhm.
more importantly, how am I going to know you got it done? And that's the
Right.
power of a coaching dynamic, a coaching
Right.
relationship, is that you're accountable when you show up to me
Right.
every week.
Right. And
And
I'm like,
yeah,
I think most people are like me too. It's like, it's easier for me if I would feel bad if I like missed our call or if I didn't do the work that I was supposed to do. Whereas because I'm meeting you. Whereas if I were on my own, I'd be like, well,
let yourself off the hook.
yeah, like you had a hard
Uh-huh.
day or like
Yeah.
whatever, right?
I earned that. I can take the morning off. I can sleep in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
It's
think
possibly.
about, I mean, is being, I guess how we would know that we're being too comfortable is like, is how.
Yeah. So it's one of the things that a lot of people, they have this vision, they have these goals for their life, and then they
Mhm.
achieve it.
Right.
And that's one of the worst things as humans, is that when we achieve things, if we don't immediately reset a bigger goal.
Yeah.
And so that was Jesse, a lesson from stage that I learned from Jesse Itzler, and it applies to anything in our life. But where it applied and had, tremendous awareness for me was on the endurance side of things, right? I had just completed, first marathon. It's like, hey, what are you doing next? Right. You can't just go around and say, oh, I've ran a marathon. Well, good for you.
Look, I still say I ran a half marathon like 4 years ago.
But we have to set the next bigger target. And
Yeah.
it's one of the sayings that has stuck with me from Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. And Dan always says, for our present to be better, our future has to be bigger. And I believe there's always a constraint somewhere in our life, if you understand the theory of constraints. And always the biggest constraint is always in our thinking.
Yeah.
And we're not thinking big enough. And if we do, maybe we're in the wrong environment that is
stifling. Yeah.
Stifling it, right? Holding us back. And so that's why who we surround ourselves with, the nutrients we put into our mind, it's no different than the nutrients we put into our body. The nutrients we put into our mind will help that thinking.
So your parents were right. Who you surround yourself determines who you are. Damn.
Absolutely.
Damn, mom.
Damn, parents.
Well, let me ask you this. There are times, or what's the difference between when you have, like, how to do something, you've perfected the process to get the results that you want. And that works. Like whatever that is, that works. But like, that doesn't feel like complacent necessarily. Like, what's the difference? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can't always be changing everything all the time either. Like that's
no, Jen, it's not about drastic change. It's just about small gains on a daily basis.
Okay.
It's that whole concept, that whole theory of 1% better every day. And the biggest thing is
like a lot, but it adds up.
Are we building the right habits? Coach Burt shares this story from the book Atomic Habits all the time. And there's a study in there that there was this gentleman that wanted to improve his fitness. And what he did is that he got in the car same time every morning, drove to the gym. He was at the gym for 5 minutes, did one exercise for 5 minutes, turned around and left. And people would clown on him. Like, what are you doing? You're not getting anything for 5 minutes. But he did, because you know what he was doing? He was building the habit of showing up every day,
right?
Taking a little bit of action, and it improved his fitness over time. And that's the problem. And that's the problem with real estate agents is like, guys, gals, you're in a delayed gratification business.
Right.
What you do today, you will not see in your bank account for 90 to 100 days.
Right.
And so that's where, and I've been sharing this message the last week, and it was, I saw one of Gary Vee's messages, and it was like, he got me with the hook. It was like, why do people burn out?
Yeah.
And I've heard him say this over and over. If you've ever paid attention to Gary, you've heard this. And he said, the reason people burn out is that they get fixated on the end result.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fall in love with the process in the moment. And, I'm like, damn, that's so true.
Right.
Because
That's true. Right.
when I, been, just diehard David Goggins fan, just really helping, from mindset, from endurance side of things, inspirational. And, Goggins always says, he's like, the reason people fall out of buds or they don't do anything hard is because they get so fixated on the end result. They
Mm-hmm.
can't stay in the moment, because sometimes the moment is so painful that they want to go to the future.
Right.
And so what he's like, no, you have to enjoy and embrace the moment, no matter how much it sucks. And so what's even more powerful, and this is a little nugget that I got from him on the endurance side of things, and this is why at certain distances you're able to bring pacers in with you. You have somebody right next to you, is that when you're doing something difficult, doing something hard, when you're worried about the person that's right beside you,
Yeah.
you stop worrying about the pain.
You push a little
through.
further. Right. Yeah.
Harder.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I always want to challenge people on, as you're going through this and you're building, remember the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the people that are around you and what they're going through. And when you're really fixated on helping them
Mm-hmm.
thrive,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to think about the future for yourself. You're going to stay in the moment.
Right.
And you're going to stay in the process. So that's always my challenge to everybody, is stay in love with the process.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have a big ass goal that you're working towards, right?
Well, and I think that's like the benefit of having a coach too, is you do become more worried about like what you've promised to them and what you've like what you and your accountability partners and things like that. And plus having a coach like you helps with your blind spots, because there's every once in a while we just get like a little bit stuck and you're just like, okay, don't get stuck there, like move over here. And it's like always easier to have somebody else helping you change your perspective. Then well, I want to offer to people, if they've gotten value out of this conversation and they're not exactly where they need to be and they know that coaching could be a solution for them, they want to try it. We are offering, Real Estate Fight Club is offering to pay for their first 60 days of coaching with you. Yay. Yeah. So all they have to do is go to trial.coachcode.com, and then there'll be like a sponsor code. And if they enter in Fight Club, then they'll get those 60 days with you.
Just to head over there, head over to that. What Jen just shared, trial.coachcode.com. Put in Fight Club, and Jen will pick up the tab, and for the first 60 days. And
only 60 days.
No. Only 60 days. We want you guys to jump in and get a taste. I don't work with anybody one-on-one anymore, or take anybody new one-on-one anymore. So
sorry for you. No.
So go over there. We do a deep dive around how to really accelerate your growth. And part of our coaching is called Accelerator. Yeah. And it really is, how do you exponentially accelerate your growth through an accelerated growth strategy that has been proven, for us with 2 different brokerages in 2 different markets, and, over thousands and thousands of agents now across the world, to help them grow.
Well, I know for me personally, I mean, and of course anybody can reach out and I could talk to them about my experience, but we not only doubled what my goals were and what I thought I could do, you were able to help me see something bigger than what I even saw for myself. And I remember that moment, like we were talking, I was like, oh shit. It was like a light bulb went off. I was like, oh my God. And it was like the floodgates opened. And so Monica and I want that for other people too, because that's like such an amazing experience, because that you're not living like, you're like, is this it? Is this it? And it's not. So much more. Like, it's not. It's so much more, and it's more than you ever even know. And you've got to have somebody else that's helping you to tell you that.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you.
We all have blind spots. Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, see you. Yeah.